Hello, hello, and welcome to our first episode of Historical Humans and our very first video, the Nazca Lines. And with that, we begin. The Nazca Lines are a collection of massive earthwork sigils constructed in the desert pampas between the Nazca and Ingenio River valleys of southwestern Peru. Constructed between 100 BCE and 900 CE, the lines correspond with the Nazca civilization, which flourished between 200 BCE and 600 CE and shows signs of inhabiting the region as late as the 1300s CE. The composition of the Nazca lines varies from simple lines, several of which stretch on for miles with an uncanny ruler-like straightness about them, to spirals, curves, and even representative figures. These figures, which were primarily constructed between 200 and 600 CE, range in scope and size from the 150-foot length of the spider to the 900-foot wingspan of the hummingbird. But even the most complex designs found among the Nazca lines consists of but only a single uncrossed line. Evidently, the complexity of some of the Nazca lines necessitated the use of a preliminary sketch. These sketches, etched on 6-square-foot plots, served as drafting boards for the larger images, a place where they could be conceptualized and broken down into a series of simpler lines, arcs, and curves that could then be replicated step by step to create the larger drawings. In many cases, these drafts can still be seen today, oftentimes next to the larger patterns they helped create. Actually, creating a Nazca line, even a large or complicated drawing like the condor, is a relatively simple process, requiring only a very limited degree of technology. And that is not to say that they are by any means unimpressive because of this. Not only have they survived for a millennium, but they are monumental in scale, beautifully executed, and wondrous to behold. But that's enough sidebar for now. Creating any Nazca line requires the use of only a set of stakes and a few lengths of knotted rope. The Nazca would have measured out a desired length of rope, and then they would have done one of the following. To create a line, they would have simply tied each end of the rope off to a stake at the desired distance and planted the stakes in the ground along the track of the line. To create an arc or curve, they would have set one stake in the ground at the center of the arc or curve, tied the rope to both stakes, and moved the second stake along the path of the curve with them, using the mobile stake to trace the path of the curve as they cleared it. The Nazca even left telltale traces of this methodology along a number of their lines. Ancient wooden stakes, set in the earth as post markers for the construction of the Nazca lines, have been found at approximately 1-mile intervals. Carbon-14 analysis, a process by which the rate of decay of long-lasting carbon atoms in once living matter is measured, has dated the creation of the stakes to between 445 and 605 CE. This would be during the height of the Nazca civilization, which, as was mentioned earlier, flourished between 200 BC and 600 CE. In fact, this was proven all the way back in 1983 when Dr. Nickel recreated the condor sketch to so exact a likeness that the two were indistinguishable by only using those tools and without the use of maps or schematics to guide him. He etched it out on a test plot and translated the proportions onto the larger picture in much the same way the Nazca did when they created the original some 1,500 years ago. The substance of a Nazca line is a contrasting of colored stones. This is created by simply removing the dark, plate-sized stones that coat the surface of the desert pampas to reveal the pinkish, unoxidized rock beneath. This created a sort of channel that formed a pathway which the Nazca could walk along. Now, the concept of the Nazca lines, especially those which form more complex images, as traceable paths, is one which dates back to Dr. Paul Kosak and the original study of the lines. That the Nazca could have walked along these lines they drew as some part of ritual to absorb desirable qualities of the creatures depicted or to appease or gain favor with some deity is a fairly reasonable concept. Every design does, after all, consist of only a single uncrossed line. This is the most popular and widely accepted theory among the scholars who study the Nazca lines, but there are others, including, but not limited to, an association of the lines with water and irrigation, the lines themselves as offerings to the deities of the Nazca, the lines as a sort of star chart or astronomical calendar, or that the lines were a form of artistic expression or even an expression of pure geometric knowledge. But none of these academic theories are the reason why the Nazca lines are so famous and fixated in the public imagination today. None of them are the reason why the Nazca lines are so recognizable in popular media as far-ranging as Cyrus Cassell's poem Eye of a Condor and the History Channel's TV series Ancient Aliens. No, the popularity of the Nazca lines is due to the idea that extraterrestrial visitors either created or commissioned the Nazca lines. This idea originated as a joke made by Dr. Kosak, the first man to study the lines whom we previously mentioned, during his study of them. It was popularized by a man named Eric von Daniken in a book called Chariots of the Gods, whose contents we can only describe as inherently factless and openly racist. The main idea behind this concept of extraterrestrial influence is that, while the Nazca lines are still visible and recognizable from ground level, they are best seen from above, and therefore, since an elevated view is the best view, the only possible way the lines could have been created was with the aid of and for the benefit of aircraft, specifically extraterrestrial aircraft, as it is known that the Nazca did not possess the power of aviation. While it is true that the Nazca lines are best seen from above via such things as modern-day airplanes, they are also easily visible to people standing on the towering foothills of the nearby Andes Mountains, an act that is easily accomplished both by the Nazca people in ancient times and by tourists today. And while the whole idea of extraterrestrial involvement in the Nazca lines has sparked public imagination and brought tourism to Peru, it is, in reality, baseless. The Nazca lines were constructed by the Nazca people by removing the surface stones of the Pampas Desert along guidelines carefully marked out with stakes and rope between approximately 100 BCE and 900 CE. This has been Historical Humans. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed our video. Like, subscribe, share, and feel free to pause at any time if you would like to view some of the same material that we did in researching this episode.